All right, welcome to the UAT Game Studios Game Job Fair Summer 2019, our recruitment event for this semester. Thank you for joining us, onliners. Give them a hand, guys, online team members. Sir.
Okay, a couple quick things. Just housekeeping stuff. Obviously, today's a job fair. We're going to try to get you guys on the teams. We're going to go through the presentation, so we'll try to keep the announcement part pretty short. For those of you that are new or just very forgetful, make sure that you sign in and sign out so that we know that you were here. That's how we track a lot of things there. As you sign up, if you are in studio, so actually enrolled in 281, 381, or 481, you have to sign up for one of the studio approved projects. But we also do support our non-studio projects, so if you are here from another class or subcontracting or different things like that, you're welcome to help those projects out as well. If you're in studio, you are also welcome to help those projects out as well, but we don't count it as your studio time. So make sure that your 10 hours is one of these top 7 projects, but there will be some other signups floating around. So just make sure that's clear. If you have any questions, make sure you let us know. Other than that, I think we want to get into the other stuff as soon as we can. So we'll be talking to leads. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. All of that kind of good stuff. Are we ready to go?
We've got our guest speaker. We're going to give him at least 5 minutes, although I'm sure he'd like to speak longer. All right, gray area. Everybody knows that project? No questions. Hold that thought. So everybody welcome Doug.
I don't know how many of you guys know me. My name's Doug Goin. I've been doing stuff with UAT for a long time. My kid actually goes here. So I kind of believe in what you guys are doing. I've been in the game industry for... Actually, let's do it this way. How many of you guys were born after 96? Any of you? Okay, so I've been in the game industry that long, and it sucks that I'm that old. So I've worked at Electronic Arts. I was there for 11 years. I was there when there was 400 people when they made their first billion. Did a lot of QA work there, did a lot of production work, customer support, and all that other good stuff. Came out to Arizona, worked on a little project called Stargate Worlds. I don't know if any of you guys want to have a really fun read of a really bad way to do things. And talk to Hugh about that too, because that's where I met him. We've both been through the fire. So, and I've also am currently working as a QA lead at Eline Media. And they're working on 2 projects. One's called Beyond Blue and one's The Endless Mission, where we're actually using Unity to try to teach kids how to code by gameplay. So I've been doing this for a long time. Does that mean I know what I'm doing? Absolutely not, right? The minute you stop learning is the minute you're done, right? The minute you stop practicing your craft is the minute you're done. So that's a message I want you guys to understand. Practice what you do. If you're an artist, draw nonstop. Doesn't matter if it's on a napkin. Okay, and the reason I say napkin is The Sims actually was created from a meeting between Bing Gordon and Will Wright on a napkin. Will Wright wanted to make a dollhouse simulator game, and Bing, being the goofy guy that he is, says, let's put people in there. That's exactly how The Sims was created. That's what started it. So don't ever think that the little thing that's in your head is not valid. Like, run with it all the time. That being said, when you guys are doing these projects, if you're working for me or anyone else, stick to your 10 hours, but get your schoolwork done, please, right? I have to throw that out there because, like I said, my son goes here, so I see it. Get the schoolwork done. Now, those instructions, no matter how mind-numbing they are, what is this, would be your 14th year taking English, you're going to need it. You need to know how to write a compelling email, right? So those are, I believe it or not, English is important even for an engineer. So, what I will do though is, I know that all the staff members here, they have my contact info, and you guys are all welcome to link up with me on LinkedIn. I have like 1,600 contacts. So recruiters, guys at Blizzard, Riot, all this other stuff. The industry's kind of really small, but it's really big. And so I would more than happy to introduce anybody in this room to anybody that I know in the industry. So on the last note, I think one of the biggest things that we've done so far is I hired a guy from a team that was working on from Gray Area. He came in as a QA guy. He is now a full-time engineer at Eline. So you guys, the pathway is there. You just have to take it, and you have to dedicate it to it. It's not the easiest road, but it is definitely a fun one. It's really cool to tell my mom, yes, I will make a living playing games. So anytime you ever want to get on your parents about it, oh, you're never going to do anything just sitting in front of the TV. It's like, yeah, watch this. So she doesn't talk to me very much after I say that. So and anytime you guys need anything, just contact me. I'm more than happy to talk to you about my experiences and the things that I've done in the industry. So that's it. If you need anything, let me know, and go Gray Area. Just saying.
Wow, did everybody hear that open invitation? Do not let that go. Doug, you want to spell your last name? D-O-I-N-E, we did. So absolutely take them up on it. You won't regret it. These folks are here, they're invested, and they want to get behind anybody they feel is qualified to do that. Adam.
So all I have to talk about right now is IGDA, GDC, and Game Jam. So IGDA is the International Game Developers Association. We have a academic chapter that meets in here every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. If you live in the dorms, attending this does earn your Wing Wars points, so please attend. So what the IGDA does is we advocate for developers. We focus a lot on professional development in our meetings, so we cover topics that you might not get covered in your classes because it just doesn't fit in any of the technical fields, but it's stuff like soft skills, networking, going to conferences, which leads into GDC. GDC is the Game Developers Conference. It runs every March. It is the industry's largest job fair. Later this semester, I will give a talk about how to go to GDC for free or at least very cheaply. So if you are interested in getting a job that is not in Arizona where you are making games, you almost absolutely have to go to GDC. So talk to me about that if you are interested. The one other thing is that there will be a game jam coming up later in the semester. The date is not set yet, but an announcement will be going out when that date is set. For those of you who don't know what a game jam is, it is a 48-hour game development challenge. So at the start of the jam, we announce a theme, and then for the next 48 hours, people break into teams and they make games that incorporate that theme in some way. At the end of our jams, we usually have prizes and a bit of a celebration. Everyone gets to show off the work that they made over a weekend. It is a great learning experience, and it's a lot of fun, so definitely check that out.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam. Okay. So let's get this unfrozen. All right. So, hey guys, I'm Jacqueline. I am the new project lead on Gray Area. Okay. So, what if the crash near Roswell, New Mexico in 1947 really was an extraterrestrial vehicle? As the sole surviving Gray in that extraterrestrial vehicle, you have to survive and evade the U.S. Army at this crash site because they come up and are like, what's this? And very curious about it. You'll also be gathering items from that wreckage in order to help transmit back to your people and repair yourself. As you play through, you will be heading over to the Army base to get more materials so that you can upgrade your psychic abilities to find out what exactly happened. Our main mechanics are stealth and the artificial psychic powers that the Gray has. The stealth mechanic is pretty straightforward. As far as artificial psychic power, that will include like mind reading, to, influencing the NPC to unlock a door or leave the area, as well as a disguise system that makes you look exactly like the people you scan, and telekinesis, so you can actually manipulate objects in world. Our focus this semester is going to be on gameplay and our first-time user experience. We need to get the stealth mechanic really fleshed out and make it like amazingly fun to play. We're also going to be implementing a secondary mechanic for concentration, which directly affects the psychic ability main mechanic that I talked about a little bit earlier. As far as level design, we're going to be looking into designing stealth paths. We want the player to be able to find their own way and have as much fun as they possibly can. As far as our first time experience, we're going to be working on the tutorial. So that will include our control mapping and getting our user interface really designed and fleshed out so that we can implement it this semester. For programming, we are going to be focused at getting on the AI working the way that we want it. We want the player to know what's happening, and so I want to try to get the field of view implemented so the player knows where the AI is looking so they can strategize more when it comes to gameplay. We also need to, we also need to implement the sound and hearing mechanic, and we need to make that obvious to the player that that's happening. So we'll be implementing that, and then we'll also be re-implementing the states that the guard has, such as patrolling, looking for noises, or chasing the player, and possibly capturing them. As far as first-time user experience, we want to get the UI implemented. So that will be things like showing the concentration that it takes to use your mental abilities, showing the players the objectives that they need to reach, as well as a mini-map or a compass so that the player is able to orient themselves in the world, and the noise gauge so they know that how much noise they're making. And the event system, which the tutorial will run off of. As far as art, we want to focus on getting the environment beautified even more. That will include things like lighting and post-processing so that it looks amazing, like you're really there in the nighttime in Roswell, New Mexico. We also want to focus on getting UI elements like completely done and implementable, as well as the menus, and Christian's got some people coming on from classes to work on vehicles. Our needs currently are going to be designers, level designers and user experience designers, as well as AI programmers and gameplay programmers to implement some of those things. And then we need animators, which, if you guys know any cinematic stuff, especially helpful because we would love to get started on our cinematics. And the environment artists as well as the UI artists. Advantages for working in gray area. Why should you come on our team? Well, we have professional shareholders, so you'll be able to interact with professional industry people before you even get out in the industry. You'll know exactly what it's like to work with them, and they're really great because they are mentorship focused. Doug's already trying to get professionals in so that we can learn from the people that are out there making the games that we play right now. We also have experienced leadership, so I am the project lead. I have led some projects before, nothing to this size, but I'm ready to take on the challenge. And then we also have Christian as our art lead. He is fantastic, if you know Christian. And also, we're working in a unique development environment. How many games out there take place in 1947 Roswell, New Mexico, where you play an alien? So I really enjoyed that. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Well done. Thank you for setting up. All right, we'll take questions after the event. Yeah, I would for sure.
So that's still working. Good. All right. Morning, everyone. I'm Kyle Davis. I'm the project lead for Guardians Legacy. We are a rogue-based RPG game where we try to use a lot of different mechanics that you don't normally see in gaming. So first off, we take a heavy emphasis in trying to make something where it's pretty unique. We have avoidable enemies, first off. So in a normal RPG, you don't have that. It's just random. So you have an obstacle for that. We also have puzzle aspects in our overworld. So you need to actually be able to solve puzzles to proceed, and those puzzles coincide with our enemies to allow you to avoid them. Along with that, we have a special node skill system where you, as the player, get to create every skill you get to use within the game. With this, we had a roaring first semester where we got to minimum viable product and we got most of our main stuff implemented. We're looking at getting to a feature complete build by the end of this semester, along with trying to look into publishing this game. matter what state it's going to be in, we are going to publish it by the end of this year. So this is a portfolio piece that everyone here on the team that we have is passionate about and really wants to create something special. And we invite you to come do that. We're looking mostly for artists right now, but we do have an opening for a technical designer and also for another coder. And we'd love to have any of you third party if you would like to do that in your spare time. We won't ask for much if you are a third party, but it's just something that's there. Overall, that's it. Thank you very much.
Where is our browser? Ah. Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Austin Harrington. I'm the game director on Bug Hunt Colonial Infantry. We changed the name for those of you that saw the last pitch. It's still not good. We're going to work it out. So, what is Bug Hunt Colonial Infantry? Well, let me show you a trailer and I'll talk a little bit about it. So to start, how many people in this room have seen the film Starship Troopers? 1997, 1998, somewhere in there? Excellent, excellent. We wanted to make a game that synthesized some of the great action scenes from that film. And so we set to work about 3 weeks ago over a very long 6-day game jam to try and build an experience that felt to us like Starship Troopers. And to an extent, we were very successful. We had 3 pillars for this game, the first of which was an immersive environment that makes you feel like you're there, and so we really wanted to show that off in our prototype. I feel like it's a good start. We want to make the game look a lot better than this. Our second pillar was player control. So a lot of that is really embodied in the feel of our gun. And so you can use one hand, you can use 2 hands. There's actually haptic kick every time you fire the gun. And we wanted to get all the effects in. And so some of these effects aren't ours, but we have the muzzle flash, we have impact effects for the bullets and those kind of things. And it really makes the game feel visceral. And so our third pillar was the enemy. And while you'll see we have a few pathing issues in this demo, we did do it very quickly, we feel like we've got a really good start. We wanted a big, scary-ass bug. And we wanted them in numbers. And Starship Troopers, for those who haven't seen it, there's 10,000 giant alien monsters that are attacking, you know, a small group of Marines in that film, and that's what we wanted to do. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. So this is a single-player narrative VR experience. This is a 5 to 10 minute game. We are not concerned with replayability. This is supposed to be cinematic. It's supposed to make you feel like you're there, and we want it to be very small scope. I'll talk about that in a minute. We want to have exhilarating, visceral gunplay. We want the guns to feel as real as possible. We want to make you feel like a badass when you're firing them. We want terrifying, overwhelming enemies. This is a big one, and it's going to require that we optimize pretty well, but we want as many of these enemies on screen at one time without lag as possible. We then have our immersive setting and story. When I say story, this isn't Mass Effect. We're not trying to do anything crazy. What we are trying to do is have a beginning, a middle, and an end. We'll probably do an intro cinematic. We're still figuring that out right now, but beyond that, we just want Marines screaming as they're dying. We want to have, you know, falling back into our compound and waiting for rescue, those kind of things. And so we are developing an Unreal Engine 4. I know, that's scary for some of you programmers. You guys don't use it as much. And we are for use with the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive. Potentially PSVR. No one's really used that at the school yet, and so we want to give that a shot if we have time. When I say if we have time, I say that because this is a 1-semester game. We don't do this in studio very often, but we wanted to have very, very limited scope. We are trying to focus on immersion and polish, as I mentioned before, which means a few things. We need visual effects, primarily particle effects, post-processing, a few camera effects. We need sound effects, which no one's ever really done on or with the level of success that we're going to have in this game, at the school anyway. And so we want it to feel like a movie, and that requires sound that sounds like a movie. And so that's going to be an interesting challenge for our designers, and we're going to figure it out together. As it says narrative design, I went over that previously, voice acting. So we're actually trying to figure out who's going to voice act in this game right now. We are talking to a few game voice actors who have done previous projects. And so we'll see. So we need you guys. We need 2 to 3 designers. Now, designers, this is Unreal Engine. You're probably more comfortable with it than anyone else in the room. However, you're going to be doing things you're not comfortable with. As I said, you're going to be working on particle effects. You're going to be working on sound effects. You're going to be working on wiring the things up that our programmers need wired up. For our programmers, it's C++ and blueprints. And I know some of you are going to be freaked out about that. This is a learning experience. This is about figuring things out that you don't know how to do yet. We're trying to diversify your portfolio. We're trying to give you a chance to have that really good Unreal game in your portfolio, because I know a lot of programmers specifically leave this school without that. If you were at GDC this year, you'll know Unreal is pulling away from Unity right now. This is the time that you jump in on Unreal. So this is an exciting opportunity to do just that. Artists. Every team needs artists. There aren't that many of you, so we will take as many of you as possible. You saw we've got really great Unreal Engine Marketplace assets right now that look great in the engine. We'd love to replace as many of those as possible, but that will be dependent on the number of artists we get. Currently, our team is myself as the game director, Christopher Kuhn, our lead programmer, Joshua Kazel, who was our lead designer, and Andrew Van Winkle and Victoria Arroyo are doing some art for us. So, join the Colonial Infantry today. We're going to be set up at a table kind of right in the middle out here. Come on over, be ready to pull up some of your stuff on a computer in the Commons so we can take a look at what you've done before and try and judge fit for our team. Thank you so much, and good luck to the other teams.
Hello everybody, I'm Todd Dickinson, lead for Project Maelstrom. Also on my team is Justin Cooper, he couldn't be here today, and Christopher Mungia there in the back. So what is Project Maelstrom? It's a third-person action-adventure game with a focus on challenging and engaging combat. One of the main features is gaining the abilities of enemies you defeat. Our gameplay goals for this semester is to create like a really smooth and flowing combat experience. So everything we do will be focused on creating combat. Our art style is detailed models, hand-painted textures. But detailed is not necessarily high poly, but detailed enough that it kind of gets what we're going for. These are some concept images for characters we'll be using. Our 15-week development plan is, like I said, the fun, fluid combat experience. To do that, we'll be making visually interesting characters, the player and an enemy or two. We'll need fluid combat animations, and we want to make some challenging combat AI. So who we need to work with, character artists, 2 to 3, for creation of detailed characters with hand-painted textures. An animator, 1 to 2, for animating humanoid creatures with various combat animations. And an AI designer, if you have experience with behavior trees, that would be great. And maybe a generalist designer to kind of backfill some of the other things we need to get done. Thank you.
Cool. All right. My name is Jordan Brown. I'm the project lead for Dungeoneer. So Dungeoneer is basically a roguelike multiplayer game where one person is playing as the rogue trying to get through the dungeon and escape, and the other person is actually playing as the dungeon, building the rooms, placing enemies, and trying to kill the rogue. So a few more details about that. Basically, the rogue is going to loot and explore and map out the dungeon like you would in a normal single-player roguelike. And on the other side, the Dungeon Master is going to be using a currency to place rooms, place enemies, place traps, and do everything they can to slow down and try to kill the rogue, including doing things like placing loot to give them extra currency and taking risks to gain rewards and that kind of thing. As well, The plan is going to be mostly a focus on multiplayer and dungeon building mechanics because that's what separates most from regular roguelikes. The multiplayer is the biggest part of this game. So we're going to be building this in Unity because Unity supports multiplayer. It's really easy to use for that kind of thing. So who I need for this project is going to be 2 to 3 artists. The style is going to be a top-down pixel art type of game. As well, a few designers. Since this is a very difficult game to balance, being an asymmetrical multiplayer game where both sides play completely differently, the balance is going to be a huge focus, making sure that both sides are equal. So there's going to be a lot of design work to be done in terms of balance, as well as just creatures and characters and weapons and things like that. And then, of course, going to need 1 to 2 more programmers besides myself. We're going to be using Unity, so C#. And if you have any experience with multiplayer, that'd be appreciated. If not, we'll be learning it together. So, as well, we're going to be doing lots and lots of testing and balancing. So the general outline for the plan is for the first sprint, I want to focus on outlining and really refining every single part of the game design, as well as building a multiplayer connectivity lobby system. And then during the second sprint, we'll set up the basic roguelike mechanics with enemies, weapons, things like that. And then during the third sprint is when we work on the dungeon building and the dungeon master mechanics. So that once that sprint is towards its end, we can actually have both players playing together and against each other, which leaves sprint 4 and 5 for both catch-up as well as balance and polish. Since nothing ever goes along with the plan, that's why sprint 4 and 5 are left so open, because we're probably going to need that time to catch up. As well, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
I'm Darren. I'm the design lead on the team.
I'm Abdul Isala, the project lead. We also have our art lead over there, Sebastian Abicedo. But okay, so hello everybody. Our project is Siphoners, and we are a 3D Gothic horror survival game project. Our main mechanic revolves around a sensor that we're gonna have on our handheld system. So the one thing that sets this game apart from the rest, we're developing this game for a special custom handheld gaming device that is being prototyped on a Asus Tinkerboard right now with a UV light sensor attached to it. So our whole mechanic is going to be based around the player taking in resources from outside and using it to balance what they have and go through the game and survive.
So our goal first is we want to get a hub world set up for the game, so the player will have an area to take missions and go off to the other parts of the world. This will also serve as a tutorial level and a test level to show off all the mechanics. And other than that, we're just going to be working on getting all of the mechanics working and then building the game off there. So we want to have at least 2 different types of enemies to deal with. We need to have different options for the sunlight weapon. That's going to be the main mechanic of our game. We're going to want to polish that mechanic and then handle the schematics for the next handheld version and trying to figure out how to make that better than we have it.
Yeah, because as of now, the system's definitely going to change, and it doesn't matter what discipline you are, programming, design, art. If you can chime in and kind of help us polish and make this ready for our end goal, then be much appreciated. Okay, so we need to finish, for the second semester, we'd like to finish 2 more areas and also include geolocation so that the weather outside will also influence the main mechanic and the sunlight weapons that you use to survive throughout the whole game. We're also going to be trying to create a class system for the player to choose and kind of distinguish themselves and have their own specific type of gameplay, even though they're still using the same main mechanic. Change and improve the usage of the actual sensor, like the hardware. And the third semester, that's farther that's farther down the road right now. But maybe we could have multiplayer, but we'll see how it goes from there. The end goal is to take this to the next GDC once we have our fully fleshed out game, and go to possibly the Alt Control GDC showcase, where there is going to be mostly kind of weird and quirky
Controllers and stuff, yeah.
controllers and stuff, so that we can show like, oh, this game has this system and this is how we set it apart. And if you do want something to stand out on your portfolio or your resume, then this would be it. Like, you can say, oh, I worked on this. This is the second game to use this sensor, and they've improved it like this. I have some odd and kind of what's the word for it? Help me out here.
Like unique designing techniques using software that's not really common,
Yeah.
or something you don't see every day. So we're looking for designers, about 2. We could take more probably though. But first and foremost, we want people who have experience with horror games, so people who are into the horror genre and have experience designing things around, all right, what's going to make the player scared? Like, I'm not just going to show them scary monsters. Like, I need mechanics that feel scary, having limited resources and having to run away from enemies that are too strong to deal with, like scary situations and not just imagery.
Yeah.
System designers, we need people who need to balance mechanics, work with variables and numbers, and then using the UV light sensor, we need to figure out, like, what's the best way to make the player think it's fun to go outside and charge their game under sunlight and then come back in and play it? And what can we do to balance it so that they have enough resources when they charge it to get through the game, but not too much where it's easy, not too little where it's impossible. Balancing that so that they can go through. It's still scary, like they have to limit their resources, but it's not impossible. And then level designers, we're going to be working on the hub world, so we just need people for white boxing. We don't necessarily need paper maps, but planning out a level just to show off all the mechanics we're going to work on this semester.
And when it comes to programmers, about 2, maybe 3. So if you have some experience with Unity, which most programmers at the school probably have, then that would be needed. Also, as a plus on the side, if you have any experience with Java or Android Studio in specific, then that could be helpful, because through the connectivity of the platform that we're developing this for, it's treating the system that we're using like it's an Android system because of the processor on the device. So if you have some experience with Java, then you'd be able to develop that more.
So artist, we're going for a kind of more realistic, gritty, gothic style. We're doing 3D art for this game. Like we said before, Sebastian's our lead artist as of right now. So the style is going to look like some of the images we have as samples up there. So any artist who can, like, kind of draw in the same style and work with models around that same cover art is what we're looking for to add to the team.
Also, even if you can't fully implement that art style, if you're good with 3D modeling, we also need environments too. So you can
Environments, props, things for set designing.
Exactly. So that could be one thing that's needed too. Okay, so for hardware, right now it's pretty much just me and other people on campus that I ask for advice, like, how should I make this system? Like, how should I hook it up? So on and so forth. If you have any experience with Tinker boards, or maybe you've never heard of a Tinker board and use Arduino, that could be also something that's useful. If you know the ins and outs of ratchet processors, that's what it's using, so that would be appreciated. GPIO pins and the SPI interface, then that would be a plus, and we could hurry this along and make sure that it's the best possible handheld that we could create for the system. Okay.
So that's all we really have to show off.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.
Bam.
Hello, my name is Justin Griffin McClinton, and I'm project lead for Project Techno. Project Techno is a rhythm racing game, co-op functionality where one player plays as the driver to navigate through the level, and one player plays a DJ to provide echolocation because both the driver and the DJ are blind. So we come through a couple milestones over the past few semesters, getting a viable prototype, making sure things bounce off of walls that can't be seen. And right now we're looking for more things in the future, trying to get things implemented. Right now we have the driver working, but for this semester I want to get both the driver and DJ working, and working in tandem, if no less. So overall, try and get the DJ mechanics to work out, UI incorporated, score tracker incorporated, and making sure that the consequences of missing a beat for the DJ also affects the driver and vice versa. For design-wise, working on trying to get things for a new track. Right now we have a perfect demo level to get people to play it, and eventually we want to expand on that. And later on in this semester, try to get another level worked out, thinking more home-based, Arizona Canyon Drive. We also want to focus on what do I want to choose, vehicle-wise, because people don't want to play this in the same vehicle, and people don't want to play as the same character. So eventually, I want to get artists, 2D artists, to help with incorporating that. And you can't have a rhythm racing game without music, so I do want an audio, someone that can work with audio. And for programmers, get everything working together, because this is a really good passion project, and finding programmers is really hard for me. So art-wise, we want to work with emissives, getting a good scene together. When the echolocation bounces off of it, I want that bright neon light to show, and give the player something to look at instead of a black screen. And programming wise, see, works. Getting the echolocation to work in tandem with the DJ. Currently, we're trying to make it where if the DJ misses a beat, that radius is shortened, and the more successful hits, it expands and widens, and the player gets to see more of the area rather than just what's just there. So for designers, we're looking for more than just a base template for UI for the DJ and the driver. Of course, a white box is going to be needed. Someone who's good with designing racetracks and designing beat patterns, algorithms, and other mechanics like that. So overall, if I could find 3 to 4 programmers working with algorithms, beat pattern sequencing, and co-op functionality, artists, both 2D and 3D, all artists are accepted. 1 or 2 game designers, of course, that can work with level design and source control, making sure they can build in Unity properly. And, of course, an audio engineer, because this game is not one to be played silently. Thank you for your time. And, of course, we do have a media team going on Twitter and Facebook, making sure we're posting updates on everything we do.
All right, very nice. Your choices are, it's going to be very difficult to choose, I'm sure. Those are the agreement projects for this semester, so if you're enrolled in the studio courses, that's 281, 381, 481, you'll need to choose one of those projects. If you are not, if you're a subcontractor coming in to fulfill a course requirement, you also can help out rogue teams. So we're going to start with John. John.
I got X'd out again. It happened. Oh boy. Yeah, probably. Oh no, I froze it. Yeah. Right. Okay, come on. Okay. Hello everyone, my name is John Galassi. I am the founder and CEO of Honorbound Game Studios. So a little bit about my company. My company was founded after Dawn of the Dreadnoughts had its last semester in production studio. And I decided, you know what? I really like doing this. I'm found a company. So currently the company is me. And we're going to be working on our first project. The project that I'm showing you here today is Flaming Tires. Flaming Tires was actually a game jam project that was done last semester with a team consisting of me, Chris Kuhn, Josh Kazel, I'm blinking, Kyle, yeah, Austin. Anyway, I'm totally blanking on the members of the team, but everybody helped. And we wanted to create a fun little racing game, very small scope, in which you race around a track and try to beat your time. So this is what we came up with so far. Currently it is in Unreal. And as you can see, it's a working game, very beautiful environment. But it's not done yet. So as being the first game and having a game that's really got a really solid foundation, racing gameplay, I wanted to take this game, found a company, and really finish it. In terms of finishing it, the game needs to be completely rebuilt because as you can see, the car is floating. It should not be doing that. And that's our game so far. Currently, I'm hoping to start accepting interns next semester. So, yeah, I didn't really prepare, but thanks.
All right, that is the good job. Good job, John. That is the only Rogue developer that I had confirmed for today, and I think all the other ones have jumped onto other projects already. But last call. Anybody working on a project that you need help for, come on down. Don't be shy. Going once, going twice? Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Would love to have you back in the studio. He's not listening. All right. So that said, we're going to go ahead and release very shortly. Don't get up yet. For that next phase, you're going to go ahead and have your questions answered. Out at the tables, you're going to sign up. Now, we need an even distribution of talent as much as possible. You know the projects that you like. If you see a long list of people already signed up for your #1 project, do self-distribute. You can you have a better chance of getting on your second choice then, I would say. So I'll leave it up to you. Leads, we're going to meet back in here at 2 o'clock to redistribute if needed. And then you have a couple of online recruits that you need to go ahead and add as well. Any questions before you leave here? All right, stay with your leads. Once you choose your team, stay with your leads. This is an all-day process of onboarding. Your leads know what to do. If you have any questions at all, come and seek out Professor Clark and I, and have a great time.
So only sign up for one team.
One team, yeah.
That was hot.